Welcome to BizTech's Enterprise Technology Show, where we feature tech companies that are innovating in the large enterprise space. Now, our featured company today is Railsbank from the UK. Now, Railsbank positioned itself as a utility on which other companies spanning fintech upstarts, challenger brands to incumbent banks that want to refactor their tech so that they can build and sell various financial services or add fintech services to their products. Now, here to tell us more is Justin Xiao. He's the COO of Railsbank in the Asia Pacific region. Hey, Justin, welcome to the show.
Hi, Brian. It's great to be here. Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Now, Justin, Railsbank claims that it has an open banking API and a platform that gives companies access to global banking with just 5 lines of code. That's a tall order. Now, give us a quick overview of Railsbank.
Yeah, absolutely. We believe that anyone can be a fintech, whether it's a big brand, whether it's a startup, whether it's a fintech who have aspirations. We want to empower them to launch their financial services into the market. We allow them to do this quickly with 5 lines of code. They can come onto our platform, connect to our APIs, go and test. They can prototype, launch, and scale. So that's the value that we bring into the market. And as you mentioned, we have a global network, and that allows them to then shift their solution, lift and shift into other regions. So we're live in 4 continents now, and we bring that into the market.
Now, so you're a banking platform that essentially allows companies to create a digital ledger, to transact money, to issue cards, and to manage credit processing. So could you kind of walk us through your product and service offerings?
Yeah. So we deconstructed the basic layers of financial services into that basic ledger. From the ledger, you're able to send money, receive money, spend money. And we are going into, as you mentioned, credit as a service. We're going into insurance as a service. So we're offering this through a method where you can choose what you need to build your financial service offering. So you focus on the consumer journey. What do you need? You take what you need, you leave what you don't. We do the heavy lifting. And that is part of our deconstruction. And you pay for what you need. And so all of that's very important for anyone wanting to come into this space. They don't need to, they don't need to consume. They don't need to pay more than what they require, and that's a huge value proposition. And this is also a different way of thinking through consuming financial services as well.
Okay, so to help us understand your value proposition better, can you walk us through how you've helped some of your customers in the past?
Yeah, absolutely. I can take 2 examples. One example is with Singlife in Singapore. So Singlife is a digital insurance company. They offer a high yield deposit account that allows them to offer their insurance policies through that account. So when that account is tied to a Visa card, and when the person spends on that Visa card, it generates into a insurance policy for that person. And that allows Singlife to also have that interaction with their consumer. So when I spend on my Singlife Visa card, Singlife understands, okay, Justin, goes to the grocery store 7 times a day. He's a family man. So through my behavior, they're able to get to know me a little bit better. And they can then derive, micro insurance products that's tailored towards me. So they have as an example, a retrenchment insurance product that they offer through their card proposition. So, and Railsbank empowers all of that.
Now, to give us an idea of really all the possibilities, while I was researching Railsbank and researching to get ready for this interview, I thought that a company like Malaysian Airlines, with its goldmine of customers from its loyalty program Enrich,
Mhm.
would be able to benefit from your solutions. So can I walk us through, if you can think about it,
Mhm.
how would you empower a Malaysian Airlines to become a fintech?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, when I mentioned about Singlife, Aviva now, they've gone through that merger, very a traditional, industry, looking at how they can be more digital, how they can create digital products and be more engaging with their end users. So similarly with the airline, and airlines, these days they go through, um, let's take a step back. Traditionally, airlines have partnered with banks and they issue co-brand cards.
Mhm.
So with these co-brand cards, they're lending their brand, to the banks, and they're offering, miles. But when the person spends on the card, all that data may not go to the airline. The bank still views that data. The relationship of the card is with the bank mostly. So for example, if you go to airline counter and say, hey, I have this, airline card, can you tell me, what's my balance? What did, the airline would not be able to do that. So what if the airline can issue a card to their customers and get that, touch point, a more frequent touch point with their customer? So if for example, the airline's thinking of about such a product, they may have some, high level ideas of what they want to achieve. So without, building a 5-year business plan, they can say, hey, look, let me do a launch. Let me do a small launch to my, most valuable customers. So it's just a prototype, right? So they are able to come onto our platform. They can issue 100 cards. They don't need to pay for, a large card stock. They can just go small, test out their proposition. We do the heavy lifting. And so in terms of, the license, in terms of operations, we run that. The airline focus on the consumer journey.
And so that's really, I mean, when you talk about focusing on the consumer journey, that's really about focusing on their core competency,
Mhm.
essentially the customer management, and you take care of all the heavy lifting. So
Correct.
walk us through, for example, and using this example of Malaysia Airlines, what kind of products and services do you think
Yeah.
they would be able to roll out to their millions of customers, not only in Malaysia, but
Yeah.
globally?
Yeah. So they're great at travel. They understand travel. They understand the, behaviors of consumer. What's the propensity to travel, and also understand. Hey, look, when Justin is not traveling, what is he doing in Malaysia? When is he getting ready to travel? So with that, again, with that car proposition, they may be, offering, Justin, a saving proposition that helps Justin's, get to his goal of, purchasing the next vacation. Of course, this is going to be post COVID, and they should be thinking about this, right? What
Yeah.
happens when we come out of global lockdown? How are we going to incentivize people to travel? So start thinking about the products that they can deliver into market now. There's been a lot of, travel card propositions, the likes of Revolut, Utrip, that offer zero FX, that's geared towards travel. So they should take inspiration from these companies. Look at what they're doing, look at how they're engaging consumer, looking at how they're winning, and offer that to their customer. There's tidbits that they can take. There's a they again, have a huge portfolio of customers, test with a small segment of them, see how it goes. And again, it's about, being able to, do this quickly. So hey, test different, variations of the product, see what sticks in the market.
And so let's zoom out a little bit and back focused on you as Railsbank. Now you've got a in Asia Pacific across the region. You've just launched in Australia. What's been your go-to market strategy in the APAC region?
Yeah. So we have a global network of banks. And in our Australia launch, we partner with, Vault Bank, which is the first neobank in Australia. And
Mhm.
so we're leveraging on Vault's, local experience, their brand, knowledge, and balance sheet. So for us to offer our services through our banking partner, Vault, like we're doing with DBS in Singapore, So that was announcement in Malaysia. Sorry, in Australia.
And where have you seen strong adoption for your solutions in the region?
Yeah, in Singapore, we've been here for more than a year and a half. We've launched with large brands. So the example that I mentioned was Singlife Aviva. We have Aspire, which is SME neobank. We have Wirex and Crypto.com as our customers. So we've been able to gain strong traction in Singapore. And these companies like Aspire, they have aspirations to go across Southeast Asia, and we want to help them do that. Similarly, for our customers in UK, Europe, in US, they want to come into Southeast Asia. It's a vibrant fintech market. It's a vibrant economy. They want to set up shop here. So we want to help them bring them over as well.
Now, Justin, you are in a very competitive space landscape right now. You've got key competitors and alternatives like the likes of Bankable and Solaris Bank and a plethora of other competitors. What's your competitive edge?
Yeah, so I would say, it's about our global network. So none of them are in 4 continents. We have offices in 11 markets. And right now, I would challenge and say there's no one really out there who has that coverage, that global coverage that Railsbank has.
Now, you've acquired Wirecard's assets in the UK. How has that impacted your ability to do business in Asia?
Yeah, so the Wirecard Card Services acquisition towards the end of last year was a momentous event. It was about a couple of things. It's not just about business growth. It was about sustaining the reputation in the fintech ecosystem. So we were stepping up to make sure that, number one, there's no loss in jobs in the UK. There was a great team based in Newcastle. We wanted to make sure that there's no fear of losing their jobs with the Wirecard event. We wanted to make sure the customers they were serving were not interrupted or disrupted, given that this is financial services. We were still in the pandemic, in the midst of the pandemic. We wanted to make sure that people felt safe, that their money was safe, there was going to be a continuity of service. So again, our investors backed us up with this acquisition. So we were still a relatively, a young company. We were able to make that acquisition. Again, it's a testament to our investors' belief in our capabilities, our CEO, our management's capability. As well as our ability to service these customers. So we've stepped up. I think we've done an amazing job. Those customers, again, when they grow and they become bigger, they become successful, they're going to want to come to Asia. And my responsibility is building that plumbing so that when they're ready, they can easily lift and shift to Asia.
And so that's part of that $37 million growth capital that you raised in November 2020. How is that capital going to be deployed?
Yeah, it's going to help us set up our Asia franchise, Brian. It's running financial services. You need people with experience. You need people who come from the industry. So when we set up Railsbank, the people that I bring onto the team are people from the industry. They've worked in banks, they've worked in financial services like I have. So before Railsbank worked at Visa and Citi across the region. So we understand how to partner with banks. We understand financial services and how our bank partners will view the product and services that we're offering, as well as engaging with our regulators and partners.
Justin, with your experience, as you said, at Visa, at Citibank, also, and working in New York, Singapore, and Hong Kong, give us a macro view of the embedded finance and also the banking as a service market in the region and the direction that you think it's heading in the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, it really started out, in 2015, 2016, when when the likes of Uber, which is a gig share, a riding platform,
Yeah.
and they brought a financial services experience, the card experience that just blew everyone's mind, right? So you get out of the car, your ride is paid for.
Yeah.
Um, hey, that's not their core. However, they were able to create such an amazing experience, and everyone has been inspired by what Uber has been doing, and everyone has, essentially replicated that journey. Now it's very common, right? When you're in Grab, Gojek, it's that Uber experience. Now, are they a financial when they started out, they were not a financial
Yeah.
services company. Of course, they've grown and so forth, but it's that inspiration that everyone's taking, and now you can do it without the upfront investment. You can do it without that, knowing who to talk to. We make that easy. Hey, we're an online platform. You come and talk to us. You don't need to knock on doors. You don't need to, go to a branch, let's say. So connect to us, right? So we're making that seamless for our customers to engage, to connect. Again, we want to help them prototype their service, and help them think about how to go to market in the fastest way.
Now, Justin, let's zoom in on you personally. Now, you have a very interesting profile. Besides your banking background, as we've talked about before, you were also an entrepreneur in New York and a co-founder of bookcurrency.com. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that was during the same time, we when Amazon was growing up, and we were looking at how we can facilitate the buying and selling of college textbooks on campus. And interestingly enough, one of my co-founders was interacting. We were one of the first to advertise on Facebook, because we were in Northeast, in New York, 2 hours away from Boston. And Facebook came to our campus. We were one of the first campuses to launch Facebook, and we were advertising on Facebook. So there's emails from our co-founder to some of the co-founders at Facebook from the early days. So yeah, we were riding on the e-commerce revolution at that time.
Right.
And again, when we were launching, accepting credit cards, there was no Stripe. It was very difficult to do. So it is taking that personal journey of how difficult it is to, and the investment in time, in building relationships, in getting all of that up and running. During that time, again, it was over 16 years ago. It was such a pain. And for the founder who sees a market opportunity, we want to enable that. We want to make it easier. So they're solving these market pain points. And again, what does that do? That brings convenience to consumers. It brings competition. It makes the economy more vibrant, in that sense. And so it's better for you and I, right? We have different choices in the financial services that we want to consume. And again, we're elevating that experience like that, what Uber has done, and we want to inspire the next startup or the next brand to create that differentiated experience.
Now, final question, Justin. Drawing from your experiences as an entrepreneur, and you talked about some of the lessons there already, and also your experience as a banker, and then now your experience rolling out a fintech. What are the key business lessons that you've learned in this journey that you could probably share with other business leaders?
Yeah. So for example, when I was at Citi, and Citi built their global banking network, 150 years, and they're in all these markets. It's and the value that they bring into the market for a multinational, again, very inspiring. Now, why can't that be done in a similar way, but making that accessible? So the power of that global network, I've seen it. I've seen it through Visa, seen it through at Citi, making that more accessible. Again, benefits everyone. Makes it easier for businesses to operate and lower their costs. And again, it benefits the end consumer, and it solves the financial inclusion need in the market, right? So bring that differentiated service so it's more available and more relevant to the different segments. So you need to have those differentiated services in order to solve financial inclusion.
Now, Justin, thank you very much for taking the time to be on the show.
Thanks, Brian. Really appreciate it again for the opportunity.
Now, I'm Brian Fernandez, and I've been speaking to Justin Xiao, COO of Railsbank Asia Pacific, on BizTech's Enterprise Technology Show. Now, the video will be on our Facebook and LinkedIn sites, as well as our website, www.biztech.asia. Please subscribe or like our various platforms.